What's going on, guys? TrippleForteMatt here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to change Outlast game files. This is going to be a follow-up video to my Outlast mods video that I made back in the summer, because I wasn't actually using mods in that video. However, I changed the game's configuration files. Depending on if you want to make the game a little bit easier or harder on yourself, there will be a time skip for everyone, and without further ado, let's get into it. So if you want to make Outlast a little bit more easier on yourself, the first step that we're going to have to take is going down to our File Explorer shortcut in our desktop. Then we're going to go from there to our Documents tab, and from our Documents tab we're going to scroll all the way down until we see My Games. From My Games we're going to go to the Outlast folder, and from the Outlast folder we're going to go into the Outlast game folder, and from the Outlast game folder we are going to go into the configuration file folder. The two main documents that we're going to be focusing on in this folder are going to be the default enemy INI and the default game INI. Since we're trying to make the game simpler on us, we're going to go into the file that actually controls our movement and other various things, which is the default game INI file. This for me opens up in Notepad, but whatever it opens up for, we're just going to scroll down to our normal walk speed and everything else, and all of this is honestly personal preference. So let's just say I don't want my normal walk speed to be 200 anymore, but I want it to be 500. I can change that to an easy 500, and if I don't want my normal run speed to be 450 anymore, I can change that to be 1000 for my normal speed, or for my normal run speed. Now for my crouch speed, if I want that to be 1000 as well, I can also change that, and everything else that you want to change is a big etc. One thing that I want to talk about before I leave this file is actually the forward speed for jump walking, which is 450, and the forward speed for jump running. Also the jump clearance walking and jump clearance running. I still don't know what is the difference between these two. In all honesty, I'm going to take a hunch and guess and say that the forward speed for jump walking is basically how much land that you cover when you're walking and then you jump. I'm going to say that the jump clearance walking is actually just going to be your height. So let's say I want the forward speed for jump walking, instead of it being 450, I want it 700. I'm going to change that to 700, and I'm also going to change the jump clearance walking to 700 as well. And then I'm going to change the forward speed for jump running to 1000. And then I'm also going to change the jump clearance running to 1000 as well. We're going to move down to talking about the default field of view. If you guys played the game early, then you guys probably already knew, or probably already know this one, that you can change the field of view in the configuration file. And it's not actually 90 degrees, it's actually like the console version of the game, which is at 65. If we want the 90 degree wide field of view, we just have to change the default FOV and the running FOV to 130 degrees. That makes it look like it is 90. And if we change that, we have to change our camcorder NV max field of view, which is 83 currently, to 130 degrees, and we also have to change our camcorder max field of view to 130. Now these are just the settings that I like to change to make the game a little bit easier for me. So since I personally am done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the configuration file, hover over the default game in INI file, right click on it, scroll down to properties, and make sure the read only attribute is not checked. So if it's not checked, what you want to do is go back to the Notepad or Word or Notepad++, whatever this thing opens in, and then save the file, and then go back to hovering over the file. Click or right click, go properties, and then click the read-only file. What this will do is actually activate all of your changes. So if you want to make Outlast harder for yourself, and I personally am showing you guys the settings that I usually change just to make the game harder, you're going to have to follow the same steps previously mentioned. Go to your File Explorer shortcut, go to your Documents folder, go to your My Games folder, go to your Outlast folder, and from Outlast, go to the Outlast game folder, and then the configuration file, which now we have access to the default enemy INI document. Here we have all of the movements of the actual enemies. Now, one thing that I want to point out here is that I simply thought that before I didn't have to change any of these values for any of the individual, whatever you want to call it, monsters or enemies throughout the game of Outlast, and I could simply just change this to 700. So this actually does not work. You actually have to change this value and then change whatever value you want the other enemies to be at for this to work. So the two things that I always change are the normal speed values. I changed the chase speed to 700, and I changed the normal darkness speed values, chase speed, to 700, because you're gonna find that most of the time the enemies you are encountering are in the dark, and if you don't have this changed, then the speed of the enemy won't actually change in that specific location. With that out of the way, now we're going to scroll down to our first enemy. Our first enemy is actually going to be the enemy soldier, which I assumed was Chris Walker, since he's the only one in the game depicted as a soldier. And if I want Chris Walker's speed to change from 325, which is relatively slow, to 700, which is really fast, then you just have to change it to 700, and don't forget to change the normal darkness speed value to 700 as well. Now, I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time, just because changing all of these values would just take forever. But you just have to make sure you scroll through each enemy's little profile here and see, if you can change the normal speed values and then change the chase speed or whatever you want to change. And when you change the speed here, you have to change the speed in the darkness values so that it will be equivalent to if the enemy were in the light. Don't forget that if you want to save this, simply just minimize, make sure you hit properties, and make sure the attribute of read only is not checked. Go back into the file, click X, click save, and then hover back over the file, and then click properties and activate the read only attribute. Click OK, and now you're set. One thing that I want to go back to show you guys is the default game INI. One other thing that I like to change to make the game harder, on the normal battery duration, I noticed that the time for the batteries was actually a little bit too long for me. If I was trying to make the game harder, why would I need 150 seconds of a battery? So what I did was that I lowered this value to 35 seconds, so now you only have 35 seconds for your batteries. And one other thing that I did was scroll down a little bit farther. I don't want to miss this here. I did it last time, but I don't want to miss it now. Okay, so now you have your number of default batteries and your normal maximum number of batteries for the normal mode. I changed the 10 to a 1, and I also am changing the default number of batteries. I believe I had that set to a 1 as well. So really, this is all you have to do to change the Outlast game files. Again, to save it, all you have to do is, since we've already saved it once, we want to go back into properties and uncheck read only, click OK, and then go back to the file, X out of it, save, and then go back over the default game INI file, go over to the attributes, click read only, click OK, and now you are actually set. So I hope that this guide did help you. I'm sorry if it was a little bit too long. I'm starting to see that I'm going into the 14 minutes here, but there's going to be some gameplay at the end to show you guys what exactly these setting changes look like. Obviously the settings that I used for the gameplay is going to be a little bit different because I couldn't change everything that I wanted to in this video just for time's sake, but you can do that on your own. I'm happy that I helped you guys. If this was informative, please leave a like and don't forget to share, put out the word about this video on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Steam discussions, all that social media out there so the whole world can see. And until the next one, TrippleForteMatt is out. Cue the gameplay. Peace.
Search you! I want to show you something!
attention? Don't pass out on me. There's still a lot for you to absorb. There. Better, right? You understand what we achieved here? We made the consumer into the means of production. This thing is gonna sell itself. I should have cut his feet first. Buddy! Aren't you a slippery there, fucker?